All right, great. Good evening. Welcome to the 2020 July 23rd meeting of the Middleton Zoning Board of Appeals. This is obviously going to be conducted over Zoom tonight. Let's see. We do have a few items on the agenda. First of which is going to be the reorganization of the board. For that, I will accept any nominations for chairperson.
Craig, I do think that right in your zoning Board of Appeals rules, it says that the alternates do not vote in the reorganization, so I don't think you can do it tonight.
Oh, all right, that works for me. Then in that case, we will table the reorganization of the board till next meeting. When we have a fuller board, we'll move on to item 2, which is the minutes. The board members had an opportunity to review the minutes from February 27th, 2020, March 26th, 2020, and April 23rd of 2020.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. And I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept all the minutes from 3 meetings.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
I will be abstaining from this vote just because I don't think I was a member during any of those meetings yet.
Yes, that's fine. No problem. And on that, I'd like to welcome Rich to the board publicly. He's our newest member and brings a wealth of knowledge to the table, so it's great to have him.
Thank you.
Is there a vote from Ann and Ann?
Yes.
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 And I vote yes as well. All right, we have 2 new items on the agenda tonight. The first one we're going to open up with is 108 South Main Street. So the way that we'll handle this is we're going to have the legal notice read. We'll have a presentation by the applicant, and then we'll read any correspondence into the record. And at that point, I think because we don't have a full board, I'll entertain a motion for a site walk, and we'll continue to the next meeting.
You actually do have a super majority to vote on this, because remember, Rich can vote on this. You have 4
Right.
members?
Assuming that there might want to be a site walk.
Okay.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, Madam Clerk, will you read the legal notice, please?
You want me to do it? Can you hear me well enough to do it?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's see. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 48, Section 11, MGL, an emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, the Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. July 23rd, virtual meeting space. On the application of Marmaduke Canine Daycare for special permit under Section 9.4 pursuant to Section 3.1.2 and Table of Use Regulations in Section 9.5.22 of the Middleton zoning bylaw, or any additional relief the board may find necessary to relocate the doggy daycare from Unit 1 to Unit 2 of the current building on property located at 108 South Main Street, found on Assessor's Map 29A, parcel 1086A. Plans are on file, and there you go. And there is comments, and there is an abutters list.
And the abutters have been notified? Yes.
I
Yes.
assume so, because there's a list. If Katrina
Okay.
wants to show that to me.
Yes. There.
All right,
Do
thank
you want me to show it?
Bottom, down the bottom, there's the abutters list. Yep, there it is.
Great.
Yep,
Thank you.
it's there.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application or to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman and esteemed members of the board. My name is Robert Brown. I'm counsel for Marmaduke's Canine Daycare. I have with me a co-owner, Melissa Sampson, present. We're here to speak on behalf of the application briefly, and certainly to answer any questions the board or any members of the public may have in support of same. Shall I provide commentary in support of?
Please.
Thank you very much. And I hope everyone is staying safe and sane during these crazy times. It's so unusual to be attending these via Zoom, but it's, you know, a testament to your board and all of us that were able to muscle through and still conduct business despite the pandemic and everything that's going on. So I want to extend sincere thanks for holding meetings in this way. We really appreciate it. The application, we hope, is a simple one. Marmaduke's Canine Daycare has been in operation for 1 year. It recently, this past week, celebrated its 1-year anniversary. Reason for the application is Marmaduke's Daycare currently occupies the main level of the building, but it hopes to relocate down to the lower level for financial reasons. It's a slightly smaller space, and since it doesn't have front facing, the rent will be considerably less. So that's primarily the reason for the relocation. As has been stated, plans have been submitted. There is no substantial construction. The only construction of the new space would be a non-load-bearing wall, which would be used for aesthetics as well as to separate areas where the dogs are kenneled. The primary reason for the business has remained unchanged. It is primarily a daycare. It does plan to offer, as been stated prior, some ancillary services of boarding as well as grooming, but those are ancillary and only come up on a rare occasion if an owner requests same. I'll pause if there are any questions or comments.
Katrina, do you see anybody hands up? I can't see them.
Do you want the public to speak now? Because there
No,
are some
I
comments
just,
too.
even the board members, I'm just double checking.
So
Oh.
All
I
right.
have a quick question, through the chair.
Yeah.
Just quickly, is what you're doing, obviously you're an existing business and it's already located, but is anything that you're doing require any additional permits, say from the Board of Health or anyone else? And if so, have you applied for those?
My research has indicated that no additional permits are required.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
do
Thank you
have
for
some
your question.
comments from the health director when you're ready to have the comments read.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of the applicant for the application?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Madam Clerk, can you read any of the correspondence that we've received? Do you have them?
It's up on the
Yeah.
screen.
Okay. Let's see, from the police department, no issues. From the fire department, access must be maintained to the fire panel located in the basement of the office. Everything else is okay. From Paul Goodwin, that 108 South, this is 108 South Main Street, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Not
there's
applicable
really
to
no
them.
comments.
Yeah, so there isn't anything. And then this is from the Board of Health. This application is not written in depth for the use. They just indicate the relocated business from top to bottom floor, but don't mention anything about use or change in use. The prior use was for no grooming, no overnight boarding. However, the applicant advertised and performed both grooming and boarding was put on notice by the department and the building department. There is a shared septic system, and if grooming were to be allowed, the business will need permission from the septic system owners to allow that type of activity. And hair screens and protocols of environmentally safe shampoo should be in place. As for the overnight boarding, this is not under my jurisdiction. However, if approved, then protocols need to be put in place for our animal control officer and for sound attenuation, reduce noise complaints from future first floor tenants, etc. And that's from Derek Fullerton.
Thank you, Ann. Let's see. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I'll open it up for board discussion.
Do you want to speak to what the Board of Health is talking about, Mr. Lawyer?
Sure.
Mr. Flair.
Mr. Lawyer.
Sorry, don't remember your name. I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. It's Robert Brown. I've certainly been called worse in my in my tenure. So it was a little difficult to hear, but some of the things that stood out, for one, is there was not significant detail in the application. The purpose of the business is not materially changing at all. The primary purpose shall continue to be a dog daycare. It's necessary, considering the type of business, for the safety of the canines, frankly, and for the convenience of the owners, that the option for overnight daycare to be afforded. Examples are if an owner is unable to due to an emergency, which given the current climate has come up or could come up, that we have protocols put in place to board the dogs. So this is an ancillary, and I even hesitate to call it a service. It's an ancillary ability that we're able to provide in the event that an owner needs it. That's why, while we note that we offer the service, it's not advertised as a primary service. It's for the, again, the convenience of the owners and for the safety of the canines.
But the Board of Health is saying you need permits for this and you don't have them.
We have not applied for any additional permits, no. Did the board indicate where? Because frankly, we researched and we were unable to locate the specific permits for this type of service. We did pull the statutes that talk both to animal control and safety. And while it does speak to owners and keepers' obligations, it doesn't speak to a specific application for boarding. So I would respectfully say that unless it's in a location that I've been able to locate, that one doesn't exist.
Well, I was speaking to the grooming. The Board of Health put her on notice for grooming, and he's saying you need permits.
Okay, so then if it would please the board, can we address them for boarding and then grooming? So would it be safe to assume that boarding is allowed under the summary that we've provided, and the issue that we need to address is grooming? If so, I'll move on to grooming.
Okay.
Okay, assuming that the boarding as outlined has been allowed. For grooming, similarly, we haven't been able to access permits. Melissa, were you told of any specific location to apply for permits for grooming? Okay, so again, similarly, we've been unable to locate grooming permits and licenses. I'm not aware of the ability to do so. I can imagine concern would be water usage. So one of the things that I would be remiss if I didn't say is currently the occupant on the first floor is a fitness center, which it's our understanding maintains at least 4 showers and are used quite regularly. Again, grooming would be an ancillary service, very rarely utilized. So if anything, the water usage would be attenuated significantly. With respect to environmentally friendly shampoos, we would commit and go on record as saying that, of course, we would use only environmentally friendly products.
Well, I'm confused as to why the Board of Health would put her on notice and not provide her with the ability to rectify that. Did you talk to Derek Fullerton in person and ask what this is all about? Or maybe Katrina could clarify this?
I'll try, and then maybe the building commissioner can chime in too. It sounds to me like when the applicant originally applied for this permit, they did not apply for overnight boarding. So what was the special permit granted for? Doggy daycare?
It's only doggy daycare.
Service or something. So they weren't permitted for that. And also when they when the Board of Health reviewed it, they reviewed it not thinking there's any grooming, so they don't have to be worried about the septic system in terms of those things. They just need to know exactly what's going on. And I don't think there may not be a permit for grooming, but the health department needs to know that's happening so that they can ask you to do whatever you need to do to make the septic system safe. And Scott, I know you're here, I don't know if you're listening. As far as overnight boarding, that requires a special permit, right?
It has to be included as part of the special permit under the kennel, which dog daycare falls under, which in the previous special permit, they specifically stated they weren't doing dog daycare. And I also want to address the councilor's comment that this is ancillary and it's not going to be advertised, because even though they didn't have permission before, they were advertising both services. In fact, the boarding only came off the sign, I believe, last week when we refused to issue another permit because of the zoning violation. So, I mean, by the way, I take the council just spoke is they're not going to advertise this service. From the words, from what he said, this is not going to be advertised. It's only ancillary in case of an emergency, a dog owner can't work there.
So if I could address that, we want to be able to inform our clients that as an ancillary service, this is provided.
So that's different than you just said, though, that it wasn't an advertised service.
No, I never, with
you
all
did.
due respect, okay.
You did. I listened carefully, and actually I made a note of it. So you want to advertise the service, and all I'm saying is if you want to advertise these services, they need to be included in the special permit. So you can't say that they're ancillary and they're not going to be advertised and they're only in an emergency, and then have boarding show back up on the sign, show back up on the website, and show back up on Facebook.
So, well, it's our,
offering boarding, or it's only an emergency basis. But from before was it's only on an emergency basis.
no, okay, so that's how it's been offered to date. Let me clarify. We would like to advertise the ability to do so, and if it's required, then we would respectfully request the special application be amended to reflect, because it's not our desire to, it's our desire to be fully compliant with the board's approval and the application. So thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Fitzpatrick. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Question through the chair.
Please.
So just a couple of things, and I think I'm mostly stuck on the report from the Board of Health. There's sort of a couple of things there. One of which is, the septic system. I understand that there were there was a fitness center and there were 4 showers or whatever was there. But I'm thinking more from the effluent that the facility would be generating and going into a septic system. Now, whether it's whatever hair gets past the hair trap or whatever else is, on a dog that is going to get into the septic system, as opposed to just sort of a domestic or a commercial septic system where we kind of know those kind of things, just, household waste and things like that. So I think that it's important to, sort of do the homework on this, make sure the health department is satisfied. And at the same time, they recommend that the owner of the septic system is on board as well. I personally would like to see something from the owner that says that you're okay with it. Because essentially it's going to be on them if that septic system fails. We know that Middleton is on septic. There's all sorts of Title V issues that happen every day. And I think we would want to do that. The second part of that, my commentary here is just in terms of the dog waste. Where does that go? I mean, do you flush it down the toilet? Do you wrap it up in the trash? I mean, where does that go?
Sure. So thank you for your questions and your points, Mr. Benevento. I much appreciate it. I had some of the same questions, when I first met with Ms. Sampson, particularly regarding how hair and other things would be trapped and prevented from going into the septic. And you'd be surprised at the commercially available strainers and such. It's a dirty job, but she has to do it, kind of thing. So they are prevented from going down into the drain, and the traps work quite effectively. With respect to the waste, it's disposed of. It will be disposed of in the future, as it has been in the past. Fortunately, there is an on-site dumpster that the owners provided permission for that waste to be disposed of. And the owner did provide a letter in support of the moving down. Admittedly, it doesn't reference boarding or grooming, but it's my understanding that the Bates family, the owners of the building, have been notified of such and support same.
Chairman, can I address the counselor on that 1 minute?
Yes, please.
The letter is of support from the building owner. This is a condo association with a shared septic system, and that's Derek's concern is the building owner doesn't necessarily own the septic system. There's a condo association that serves the 3 buildings. We have one owner for this building and another owner for the other 2 buildings. That's Derek's concern, is that the owner of the septic system, not the owner of the building, is on board with the additional waste and stuff that needs to be put in place to protect the system.
Sure. And forgive me, but as we were approaching this and doing our research, we didn't view it as an additional waste. Again, we've viewed it as a reduction in usage, given how it's currently used versus how it will be used in the future. The water usage right now, from what I understand, will be far, far more than this canine daycare would use it.
But it's not about the water usage, it's about the taxing of the septic system with byproduct of the dog grooming. That's what Derek is looking for. We had a lengthy conversation about this, and that's why he's looking for the septic system owner, which is the condominium board, to be on board as well.
So the board's requesting a letter from the association.
Well, the board's not requesting anything right now. We're trying to hash out what some of the issues are, because on the original special permit, I mean, it was pretty broad. There's only 3 things that were tacked on there as conditions. One is that it would be used entirely indoors. The other, that the proposed accessory retail use is limited to canine products. And the other part has to do explicitly with the Board of Health requirements, which is our issue right now. It seems that the Board of Health has an issue with this use at this property that hasn't been adequately addressed. So what I'm going to propose is that we continue this hearing to the next meeting. And you, Melissa, and your attorney sit down with whoever you need to sit down with, Scott, Derek, everybody, get this hashed out so that when we come back in a month, the special permit reflects exactly what you want to do, because there seems to be a disconnect there between what you're doing, what you think or don't think is allowed to be used. And no one's saying that you can't do that, but I think there's an avenue to make this a lot smoother for everybody if we take a little bit of time and offline sort it out with the Board of Health.
Yeah, totally agree.
I do too.
I agree too.
So I'm going to make I'm going to leave that to you. That's why you get paid the big bucks. So we're going to continue with your permission until next month, with the expectation that the Board of Health will be satisfied with whatever you propose on the amended special permit application that you're going to submit.
So moved.
That'll be continued to August 27th at 7 o'clock.
Or maybe 8, who knows? Just kidding, just kidding. It was a long day, I'm sorry.
I appreciate it, and I'll continue my pro bono representation of Mr. Sampson.
What a guy.
If you expect what you're getting paid for here, it's 0. Okay.
All right, perfect.
So moved on the chairman's description.
Second,
I'll second it.
vote,
Yes.
Who's second?
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Stay safe, everyone.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is 23 to 30 River Street. For this one, we are going to only have the 3 board members because Mr. Benevento is in a butter.
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, just for the record, I'm in a butter. I reside at Riverview Park Condominiums. I will be recusing myself from this, but we did get an opinion from the town attorney that I can engage in the discussion and ask questions, which I will do. But I will be recusing myself from any action on it.
Thank you very much, sir. That being said, Madam Clerk, will you please read the legal notice?
Sure. The board will hold a hearing on the application of Maria and Joaquim Lima for a special permit and site plan approval under section 9.4 pursuant to section 3.1.2 and table of use regulations in section 9.5.22 of the Middleton zoning bylaw, or any additional relief the board may find necessary to use the outdoor storage areas for equipment, materials, and supplies, and to modify the site to accommodate the outdoor storage on property located at 26 to 30 River Street, found on Assessor's Map 32, Parcel 2, Map 33, Lot 99. And we have a butters list. We have comments. Yep, butters list I see. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there anyone here to speak for the applicant?
Good evening, Jill Mann here on behalf of the applicant. Unfortunately, I don't even think we can open this hearing, Mr. Hartwell, because this is a special permit.
Yeah.
And we need 4 members.
Even to open? Was that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no point. I mean, you can open it what you just did, but to do any presentation makes.
But you could just have one of the missing members sign.
Because if I end up having to get continued and then one of the members isn't there, then I get stuck with, no matter what, not having enough members and having to re-advertise. So when you ever have an insufficient number that doesn't meet the quorum, it is bad practice to continue. It is best practice to wait until you at least have a quorum for what is required for the special permit. Because no matter what now, I would have to have both members sign a Mullen, and if we had to continue and they missed it, I would have problems. It makes no sense.
So given the fact that we don't have the numbers, my goal for tonight was to at least open it and schedule a site walk. So if we limit the presentation to none.
Yes, I'm sorry. I know.
No, it's fine by whatever. I mean, we're gonna have to continue it anyway.
Exactly, Mr. Hartwell.
So I mean, I guess if everybody agrees and we're on board with scheduling the site walk at least, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't do that, even if we don't officially open it till next meeting.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, I guess, how do the other board members, Katrina, feel if we just, you agree to continue it?
Oh yeah, I'm requesting that we continue.
Right.
Yes.
But we don't act on anything. We don't have any presentations. We just schedule the site walk, and then we let the other board members know. That way they can attend the site walk if they need to, and go from there.
Exactly. Thank you.
I don't know why my video just died. All right.
You popped right back up.
We're back.
And so what dates would be good for members for site visit? And Jill too. I suppose you will, it's already marked out, right?
Yeah, it's very clear. I apologize. Yes, it's very clear where the boundaries are. And honestly, the outdoor storage areas are the exact areas that were used before, so it's very well delineated.
Let's see. Can we do like a Wednesday or maybe like a Tuesday evening?
That'd be better. Yeah, the weekends are kind of tough.
Do like a Tuesday at 6:30?
The 28th, Mr. Hartwell, or the? Whenever the board can meet, we'll.
No, I'm saying for the site walk.
Yeah, but that's what I meant. Whenever the board can attend a site walk, we'll make ourselves available.
The next meeting's what, on the 27th? So
Yeah.
can we do, I mean, why don't we go right before? Can we do Tuesday the 25th? There's no reason why it's got to be.
Not a bad idea. Then it's fresh in everyone's mind.
Yeah.
August? Are we talking of August, right?
Yeah, so it'd be Tuesday, the 25th of August, meeting at like 6:30 at the site.
I just want to, my client, the representative of the Lima is on, and it's Elizabeth White, and I can see that Elizabeth is muted. Elizabeth, would it be possible to unmute yourself?
Yes, Joe.
There we go. Thank you. So Elizabeth, just so I can explain to you, there isn't a quorum. There weren't enough members. The board did postpone the hearing in an attempt to get more members, but they weren't able to do so. So we have no choice but to continue to the next meeting. So what Mr. Hartwell just did was to solicit the cooperation of the board to have a site walk on the Tuesday before the hearing in August. Is that date acceptable to you, and are you available?
I understand, and yes, that date is perfectly acceptable.
Okay, thank you, Thank you, Liz. Mr. Hartwell, whenever it pleases the board as far as timing, the 25th is fine.
At 6:30 p.m.
At what time?
Do 6:30.
6:30? Okay.
We'll do that at 6:30, and we'll put that in so I don't forget.
And I just want to let the board know that we do have, if I may, I'm not participating or talking about the hearing, but I just want the board to know something, that we did get subdivision approval. So it's possible that we'll begin some of the work to put in the road. So I just don't want anybody to think, oh my God, you're acting without a permit. No, we have a permit to put in the roadway. And no matter what, we need access to go to the back portion, which is the commercial site. So if you see work going on, please do not think that we're doing something, not authorized, but it was with regard to the planning board.
All right. That works for me.
Okay.
So for the purposes of this application, though,
Yes.
we're not going to open it, so we'll just
We'll
consider it unopened. You're asking to continue to next meeting.
I think you can open it as long as we don't have deliberation. We don't have to worry about Mullen, Mr. Hartwell, so I don't think you have a problem at all.
That was my goal.
Yeah, I think you can do that.
All right, then I will make a motion to continue to schedule a site walk for August 25th at 6:30 at the locus of the property. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Vote.
Yes.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Abstain.
And I will make a motion to continue to the August meeting on the 27th. Second?
I'll second that. I'll second that.
Vote.
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Yes.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No
and I
problem.
appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you for everyone's understanding on the scheduling.
It
It's a little-
happens. It's
It's a little crazy in the summer.
it's the summer.
I'm
Is
gonna
that
make
what
them.
it is?
Oh, boy. It's everywhere.
It is.
Do we have any other business that we knew or other business that hasn't been brought?
We do not, Mr. Chairman.
Then I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
That.
Vote.
Yes.
Yes.